Good evening, good night, and in the case of Walmart on this panel, good morning. Welcome to the GreenBaje podcast. We are all over the place today. We got Texas, we got the mountain top, we got the frozen tundra, and then we got a man from all over in England. What's going on, Adam?
I just here keeping it cool, mellow. Ain't as cold as before. It's getting springtime, so t-shirts coming out. But it's 1 o'clock in the morning. So morning, everybody.
Maya, we are very happy that you could finally make your debut a week later than we anticipated. But,
Oh,
it's all love.
no
You look
here.
refreshed. I must say, you look refreshed.
I just don't understand how the English is complaining about the cold. Like, what do y'all know about the cold? Huh? What do y'all know?
Yeah, and as everybody should know, that is family, not even a good friend, but family to show Mr. Justin Marville. Hashtag this just in. What's going on, Justin?
As the man said, boy, shirts. I couldn't believe it, boy. Like when I saw snow in May, I didn't think I would ever get here, but here I am.
Boy, look, AJ, what happening on your end? Because men talking about it, so what's going on in Texas?
It is summertime, brother. I hear this man talking about spring. It is summer. It is
Them
summer.
part.
Yeah. Bro, I've been wearing shorts about a month and a half now. You feel that?
Oh my God.
Here the man bragging.
Bragging on the man.
Bragging.
No, I don't consider it bragging because I have some active sweat glands, and this is Texas summer we're talking about. So this heat is be worse than Caribbean heat and humidity. At least I don't get any sea breeze here, so
Yeah.
trust me, I won't be bragging when it comes to June and July and especially August.
Yeah, when you get the temperatures up in 110, 115, and they kind of ridiculous numbers that we don't
Correct.
see.
Correct.
AJ on the show, beer bar.
You might be onto something.
All right, fellas. So this week our episode is called "To Be or Not to Be," and I am pretty sure that back when old Bill, Mr. William Shakespeare himself, wrote the title of today's show in that famous literary work Hamlet, back no later than 1601, he would never have imagined that this line would still be experiencing the level of traction and pop culture relevance it has in big 2023. But here we are. There is so much happening that has happened in the basketball world over the last 7 days that we may not even get to touch on the bubble rematches that are starting tonight with the Denver Nuggets hosting the LA Lakers and the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat over in the East. We'll see how it goes. Unfortunately, we go off the rip this week with Demetrius Jamel, more popularly known as Ja Morant, who got caught on IG Live bumping to some NBA YoungBoy with one of his partners when he decided to pull the piece out again and had his mans scramble it. So, the first question of today's show, to be or not to be an idiot? Because John Morant has now found himself suspended while he is on vacation from all basketball activities by his team. We have the commissioner doing exposés and interviews saying, but I thought he had learned his lesson. Clearly, we all did. But Ja, I guess he is going to be an idiot. So, Adam, first we come to you. Tell me about Ja, man. What do you make of all of this madness?
So I will raise my hands and declare because most people that know me in basketball forums know of the support I have given to Ja Morant prior to the idiocy displayed by wanted to associate himself as some sort of gangster wielding guns. Fool, first of all. And I have no regard for all your upbringing and your all you this is might be the life you might be used to and what's not. In life, I have been fortunate enough to know individuals that are about that life in multiple countries, about that life. And I know what it cost them regardless of the spotlight they may be in or not. All that being said, John Morant, you are a generational talent. The likes of, I believe, the closest thing we have seen since Derrick Rose. I think the best comparison of John Morant is Derrick Rose. We've had other comparisons, Russell Westbrook, Baron Davis before, all similar prototypes of that type of point guard. But I think who is another player I loved, Derrick Rose, prime Derrick Rose, MVP Derrick Rose. John Morant could actually be more than that. He actually got a better jump shot than Derrick Rose had, even at MVP level, and so on and so forth. But yet, you find it necessary to not once, but now the second time. Sorry, this is the third time I believe, subject to correction, but this second time you're in trouble for it. After you made us all believe that after the shortest rehabilitation in history, you are past this, and now somehow find yourself where you should be in Cancun, drinking, the licking the wounds from the lashes that Braun and AD put by you, and thinking about how to better yourself and distance yourself from this type of behavior. Somehow we are here again. I wash my hands of Ja Morant, and my favorite brand, Nike, should too. All the Ja one that you just get, that should be the one and last. I loved Kobe Bryant. I remember Kobe Bryant having to wait because of that court case, which, as far as I'm concerned, is less than what you're doing now, because you double up. You literally double up. I am vexed at Ja Morant, and you deserve a lengthy. I would suspend him for the season. I honestly, if I was the NBA, I was around for Malice in the Palace. I was around when Kobe had his rape kids. I was around when Jordan had his gambling. We could go on. We could go on. The NBA should suspend him because you fooled everyone, Ja Morant. Everyone. You should not play basketball for the next season. I think about it. That's what I think about Ja Morant right now.
Well, what were you, Justin? Do you agree that Josh should be suspended for the season?
Yeah, for sure. Simply because first thing first, the level of stupidity, right? Like, you can have your guns. I'm sure you're not the only NBA player with guns. Like, that's obvious. But why is it every time somebody pops on an IG live, you must be sure that these guns are seen? Like, is it like IG live equals guns? I don't know the equation. I wasn't told about it, right? So I just don't get it. Like, that, for that stupidity alone, right? Because I am almost certain the NBA knows that he has not changed, but just don't put yourself out there to be seen. And the only thing I want to push back on Adam is this is not his lifestyle. This is a middle-class kid who went to a private high school, who does not come from this life. And when you hear people who are actually from this life, there are two things. One, they are pissed off when people who are not of this life are coming into this life and pretending to be of this life, because they will tell you they are trying to get out of it. I'll give you a prime example, guys. We all know, we are old enough to know Jay-Z came from this life. That is what Sean Carter's life was, right? Like, he will tell you, never have we seen, since Jay-Z has legitimized himself and his businesses, you have never seen or heard of Jay-Z flashing a gun of any type. Like not even a pretend one. And that is a guy from that life. And they say that to see these guys want to legitimize themselves. So how is it that you, not from this life, have generational wealth now and willing to risk it all to go back into that life? Like, and I'm going to take it a step further, right, gentlemen? This may be a hot take, and you know I'm not big on that. The mere fact, right, because remember, he would have lost money in terms of salary when he got suspended. He lost money because he was not able to qualify for the Supermax extension, missing out on an All-NBA team, right? So that is what $40 million extra that he lost out on. He had a conversation, a sit down with Adam Silver himself. He had rehab. He had a conversation with Kendrick Perkins, multiple conversations apparently. None of these things have forced you to change. If I'm the Memphis Grizzlies, right, and none of these things, not the loss of money, not a talk with Adam Silver, not rehab has changed you, I'd look to move on from Ja Morant. Because nothing tells me that you're going to change your ways if you've done all this, and the moment somebody pop on a IG live, you want to hold out your gun.
What about you, AJ? Because, I mean, this was going to be the follow-up that I was going to ask, but Justin has brought us there already. So, are you moving on from Ja if you're Memphis?
Wait, so you just stick me with that question? I didn't even get a chance to answer
You can come back and come forward again.
Well, to be honest, yes, I do agree with Justin in that regard. I do agree that you move on from him. Now, Justin, I was listening to #ThisJustin last night, and you're one of your guests on the panel. The guy who was a contrarian basically was making the argument that Memphis isn't really like a preferred destination for teams and whatnot. Yeah, but at the same time, Memphis is not the kind of town where you usually see this sort of trouble, though.
It isn't.
So
true.
Yeah, it is. Like, you're already a small market. I don't think you want this sort of. And I know I said earlier in the chat, there's no such thing as negative publicity. There isn't. But at the same time, from the basketball, it's not negative publicity, but the Grizzlies were already publicized enough based on their basketball. Right? They've had a lot to deal with. They already got rid of one issue. I don't want to class them out as something worse than that. Yeah, Mr. Soon-to-be Shanghai Shark. But but on a serious note, I digress. On a serious note, yes, I would move on from Ja, because Ja didn't even have the decency to try to hide. He didn't even have the common sense to try to tell his partner, bro, you know what? We strapped inside here.
But it was
like,
the partner
the
who
IG
tried
live.
to save him because the partner went live, realized that Ja put up the gun and quickly moved it away from the man. Like, so it was Ja.
You're absolutely correct. But at the same time, Ja has to have a certain level of critical thinking to tell him, like, all right, don't even do this, because the sort of mood that we in here right now, like, if these men were drunk and high or something, so like somebody else might do something, because, like, think about it, it may not have even been Ja that had pulled out something, but suppose one of his other comrades, one of his other friends in the vehicle did it, right? It would kind of still be an issue, not as big because it wasn't him per se, but it would still be an issue. The fact of the matter is, he needs to be the one to take charge of that situation. This is his life. He's the one who's at jeopardy here. Wait, Adam, did you say that this was actually his third time?
Well,
okay.
Because the first one was alleged. The first one was that someone saw him brandishing a gun. Right. You know what I mean?
Remember
the entourage. The second one is the one that was recorded. Right. And that's the one you go in trouble for.
Because remember
So you know what? To be fair, right? Let me go into a legal sense here.
Yes.
Let me use no. Let me just say I'm just prefacing my further comments by saying that I'm going to actually use the term alleged, because as of right now, the NBA is still investigating.
True.
So I don't want to say right. So and say so if he is found guilty of what he has allegedly, like if the gun is real, if it's not some mock gun or whatever the case is. I mean, to go back, I completely agree with the year-long suspension, because he clearly didn't. I mean, and we all knew that he didn't do anything in rehab. Like, oh, seriously, rehab don't work like that. But we at least thought that he learned to not be an idiot. Clearly, that message is lost upon him. But if this not alleged in the terms of what we saw, but alleged in terms of if he has actually violated rules according to the CBA, then it's time to let him sit for a year, the NBA, and then the Grizzlies after that. Like, there's no need to continue this anymore, right? And this is. Huh?
I won't butt in it. I respectfully disagree with you and Justin, though. I would, if I was Memphis.
All right, hold on. I almost done. I understand that, but hold on. I can let you jump back in. I almost done. And if and the thing is, right, if this is really a case where after the investigation they found that this man has done this again, or we all saying in Grenada, right? I don't know if you all saying that in Barbados. Once is a mistake, twice is a habit, three times is a papi show.
Well, we said twice is on purpose. Once is a
But
mistake,
right, so
twice is on purpose. Three times.
right, but we three times a habit. Oh, now three times a papi show because you can't be serious at this point. But anyhow, all I'm saying this to say if these allegations are true and he doesn't beat this one because like we have seen a lot of individuals in our lifetime as well do some morally reprehensible acts and get away because a glove couldn't fit, right? So if Ja, if Ja is able to beat this case, well then either way he still deserves a suspension, maybe not as long as the year. If the NBA's investigation concludes and they decide that, okay, well, yes, this was a real gun and this is what the case is, and he violated the rules of the league, a year, and then I agree with Justin. I'm moving on. It is not worth the headache and the money.
I'm sorry, Ken, before you hop in here, right? Just remember, he better hope that this was Tennessee, Memphis, that he was doing that in. Wherein, like, I think in Tennessee, you don't have to have, like, it's an open carry state, and you don't think you have to have a permit or a license for the gun. He better hope that that's where he did it.
I do want to ask you all a question because y'all might know more CBA wise. Just real quickly, so he is under investigation for breaking what rule? Is it like
The code of conduct?
detrimental to code of conduct?
Right.
Okay.
So in
That's
terms of that,
detrimental to the league. Okay.
but furthermore, as I said, if he is in a state that is not an open carry state, right, and let's say for argument's sake that gun is not his or that gun is not legal, he is not just breaking the CBA rules; he's breaking law.
The law, yeah.
You know that's one of the first things I thought as well when they saw it break. I was like, now I know the US struggling with this with the Second Amendment and so on and so forth. I hope to God if this is a weapon he carrying that he got a license, you know. I hope he got a license. And the way I'm telling you, if you got a gun, you, like one of you guys said, yeah, you be sure that you're the only player that own a weapon, bruh. Like, cool, but there's no need. There's literally no need for you to be doing this. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't move on if I was Memphis. Yet. Let me just say that in. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it banning you for a season. You got to sit down on our bench first. And you got to come to every game too. Every game. Sit down.
In addition to this, right? I want to say just for whether he wants to do it or not, I feel like within this year-long suspension, if I'm the NBA, I'm mandating that he does a full year-long some sort of like whether it's a mental health sort of something.
100%.
Yeah, something to do with either mental and rehab. And rehab. I don't care if you want to do it, you're doing it though.
What? Yes. And community service. And you get the full book. The full book. Because you could possibly be people looking at you to be the next face of one of the candidates for the face of the league, brother. What are you doing? Like, come on, man.
So y'all guys said a lot, right? So I can try to be succinct with my thoughts where Ja Morant is concerned, and not to repeat the things that we said a couple months ago when we were here talking about Ja Morant. And that was one of the biggest issues for me with this situation. It was not a year ago. It was a few months ago that we were talking about Ja Morant doing this ignorance. So, Adam, you said that Ja Morant, he convinced everybody, about how sorry he was. He did not convince me, and I'm pretty sure he did not convince many people who were looking at this situation with non-Memphis Grizzlies eyes. Everybody could see when he had that sit down with Jalen Rose that he was just... They might as well have had a cue card behind Jalen, and he was just reading off of it because there was nothing you couldn't feel from him. What you needed to give you the impression that this was not going to happen again. Ja Morant looked at that time like somebody that got called to the principal's office and you were told you have to apologize. Outside of that, you will say the words, but it goes no further than that.
We done here.
Correct. So when that happened before, I was like, well, hopefully, I said, hopefully he learns his lesson. Because to your point, there is a lack of proper American candidates for the face of the league once LeBron James and Steph Curry and company are off the scene. John Morant would have been in prime position to take that spot. But apparently, he, as somebody, I think it was Kwame Brown, I was listening to one of his things. He apparently wants to be the face of the league in Pelican Bay because he don't want to be the face of the league in the NBA. John Morant is out here being a nuisance by himself. It is not somebody in his crew that is doing it. If somebody in his crew was the one that pulled the gun, we're not having this conversation. But from what we saw in the car, with two men in the car. One man was driving, the other man had a gun. John Morant was not behind the steering wheel. So when you decide, yeah, maybe here vibing or whatever, and yeah, you got the phone up, I don't have to be looking at you to see you got a phone up over there. What am I doing pulling a gun? Which now leads me to the other part of it, which is there ain't no rehab or there ain't no counseling that can solve this problem because you and I, Adam, we know people personally that if you're an idiot today, you're going to be an idiot forever. There's nothing that we can do that or nothing anybody can tell you to help you to not be an idiot. So when you are in the position that John Morant is in, you have already met with the commissioner for this foolishness. You've already had to talk to the police for this foolishness. You've already gotten a slap on the wrist because I could not believe that this man decided, okay, I'm going to check myself into rehab and I'm missing 6 games and the NBA comes back and says, okay, so we'll give you 8, but we'll also count the 6 that you've missed voluntarily and add 2 more. What is this for I mean, all right, the gun that he pulled at Shotgun Willie's down the road there in Glendale was probably about so big. I mean, that gun probably you gotta put it up to somebody to actually hurt them. But the fact is, he still pulled a gun. The one that he pulled here now is much bigger. This is a much more significant gun, and he is not exercising any kind of judgment.
But he's getting better though. He's putting up bigger guns though.
Yeah, so maybe just know we'll see him packing something that need 2 hands to hold.
The AR-15 next.
Yeah, but on the level of escalation, by the end of next season, he can be rocking the bazooka. You can see him with this time up with a RPG in the middle of the street. Like, yeah, come get some. John,
you can't see he's not working on his game, man. Player development.
So join the reserves. Be all that you can be then. Join the reserves. If you want to shoot guys. Huh?
I remember when Ja pulled the gun the first time. I remember Bomani Jones. Because, I like to give credit when I hear somebody say something. Bo said that there are a lot of places that you could probably decide that you can pull a gun and flash a gun and what's not and everything can be cool. Memphis is not that city. You don't want somebody come up to you and ask you what you means to do with this gun. Because somebody will try you. Especially when they know that you boy, so you want to pull the blicky? That's so easy. And you can got money on you too, brother. Nah, something is wrong with Mr. Morant, and he just will continue to escalate until something goes horribly wrong. And we have a comment here from Jerry saying that he will pull the AR.
My thing is, right, I am not of that life by any means or stretch of the imagination, right? But I've always been told by people of that life that the moment you pull a gun, you better be prepared to use it. That's the only time you pull a gun.
Listen, oh my days. They all say, all of them say, everybody I know. You don't even know how you hit the nail on your head. Anybody, I'm talking about in law enforcement, in the military, in the hood, anybody I know that talking about guns makes that statement.
And that's not island specific. That's global. That's
That
everywhere.
global.
If you can pull a gun, you better be ready to use the gun.
You
But
ready to
you were
use it.
about to say something. You seem like if you got some breaking news for the men.
San Antonio lottery.
Number one.
Yeah.
Papa getting Pop strikes again.
I call it. I tell you.
Pop once again. Right before we started the show, we were talking about Pop. Pop the brilliant, man.
So congratulations to the San Antonio Spurs fans. You guys have the number one pick in the draft. So whoever has number 2, you know on the clock because you know Wembanyama is going to San Antonio.
Again. Oh my days.
Listen, right? Pop didn't even want to risk and mistakenly win games. The man just took a look at what's his name? That's in Atlanta. No, say, all right, you see, you're too good, you know.
DeJounte,
The man looked at him and said, "You are going to win some games that we don't have any right winning. Go on from here."
Trust the process. Trust the process.
No, you're talking about trust the process, right? I'm glad that you said that because no, we're going on to the next point. To be or not to be an NBA head coach. Because an NBA head coach job seems to have a lot less job security than we thought it actually did. Because 3 of the head coaches that had the most winning records over the last 3 years, all 3 of them are now unemployed. First, it started with Bud over by Justin. Last week, we talked about how Bud got canned and how we had, we had no sympathy for Bud because Bud had to go. Now, this week, we had Justin's Sons get them out wash out by the Denver Nuggets. And, I mean, they were down by 30 points at the half, so that let you know how bad it was. And then within a day, Monty Williams, former coach of the year of 2 years ago, he is at the unemployment office. He had to go and catch up with Bud. And then Doc Rivers, who had a 3-2 lead on the Celtics and took them back home, found a way. Sorry, he didn't find a way. His team found a way to lose games 6 and 7, and he told Monty, hold up there, fella. Don't let the van go long. Wait for me. I coming. So he too got fired. So, fellas, to be or not to be an NBA head coach, what do we make of all of these because guys get fired at the end of the regular season all the time. But what do we make of these post-season firings? Justin, we start with you.
You want me to be specific with each case or just generalistic? All right, I'll start broader view. Reality is that when you have these MVP caliber players, these all NBA players, right? You as a coach, the clock is always ticking. So, like, if you're coaching Embiid, you're coaching Giannis Antetokounmpo, you're coaching Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, like, it is basically for you finals or bust, probably title in the case of lately, Milwaukee and Phoenix. But I'll say that each case is peculiar to the others. So let's start with the most recent with Doc. I don't think I think of the 3, his was the least surprising. Like, we all kind of knew that this was coming, whether it's his fault or not. Like, I pinned games 7 and 6 mainly on James Harden and Joel Embiid, but that's another scenario for another day. The stats necessarily don't support Doc Rivers being an NBA head coach anymore. I think in his last 11 elimination games, he's like 0-11. And I can't even count the number of 3-1 or 3-2 leads he's blown now. I think it's up to like 6 or 7 now.
7.
I think 7, 3-1, 3-2 leads he's blown now. And a stat that blew my all-purpose cool now, he has 10 game 7 losses, which is the most by any NBA head coach by a wide margin at that. I think the next closest is like Pat Riley. So, like, you were brought in there because Brett Brown could not get this team past the second round, and well, what did you do? Like, 3 straight second round exits. So, like, You had to go 3 straight. So you had to go. So that was Doc. And I don't think, unlike the other 2 men, I don't think Doc is going to get another head coaching job going forward. No, let's go with my head coach. 2-time, I think, head coach of the year.
Monty.
So, yeah, Monty. With Monty Williams, no, let me credit him first for changing the culture in Phoenix. Like, you know what Phoenix Suns were before he got there and what they were since. The issue with Monty is I told everybody he was never going to be safe and I knew he was going to be fired for a multitude of reasons and not even touching on DeAndre Ayton, who I think should be gone as well. But the situation is you have a pair of 2 love leads that you blew against Dallas last year and the finals against Milwaukee the year in front of that. And then now you're 0-3 in elimination games. The first one being the finals against Milwaukee, as I just mentioned. And then after that, no, you have your last 2 elimination games are 30-point plus blowouts at home, not even on the road, at home. Like, it's going to be hard to survive a 0-3 elimination record, and on top of that, losing back-to-back 30-plus point games at home, especially with a new owner. And the rumors is that Matt Ishbia never took to Monty Williams, even when he came in. So, like, anything short of an NBA Finals appearance meant that Monty was going to go. But Coach Budenholzer, now that's the most interesting case of the 3, right? Obviously, we're going to say that, maybe hard pressed because he won the title. But you can also say he's a very fortunate man because had KD wore a size 13 and not 14, like, we're not talking about Bud winning 2021 NBA title. He's probably fired then. But when you look at, you take the 2021 title out of the equation, right, and then you look at what he is surrounded with, he doesn't even have a conference finals appearance outside of that. Like, and the same problems over and over again persist. A head coach that struggles to adjust, a team that does not defend the arc, that prioritizes protecting the paint over everything, and then their offense just is like one pick and roll, and then that's it. Like, there's no creativity to the offense. So it's just one playoff failure after another, and then when you enter the league's best record, playing a Miami Heat team down Tyler Hero and Victor Oladipo, and you win only 1 game. I'm sorry to go on this soliloquy just to finish up here. With Bud, no, what was worse about that Miami series is that you got back Giannis Antetokounmpo for the last 2 games from injury, right? And you had double-digit leads going into the fourth quarter, both Game 4 and Game 5. Would you know, right? You lose those games. Miami entering those situations prior to those games was 0-51. 0-51 entering the fourth quarter with double-digit deficit. And you, Budenholzer, lost both of those games. You couldn't bounce back for that.
What about you, Adam?
That's a stat. Like, I didn't expect you to kind of make that just so I was slightly unprepared because that 151 just what? That just knocked me out the park, boy. Wow.
0-51 prior to that.
I can. It's a big segment. 3 coaches who I have mixed reviews on. Coach Bud had to go. Coach Bud can't coach no basketball. Straight. And it shows the moment Zeus is out. Yes, GreenBaje world. Giannis Antetokounmpo for me is one of my marquee players in the league. My nickname for him is Zeus. Self-explanatory. He's Greek. Once Zeus was injured, every time Zeus is injured, Coach Bud's tactics, or rather ineptitude at tactics, is exposed completely. And myself, Ken, AJ, just saying, if you say forums that we complain about this year in, year out. Coach Bud can't coach no basketball. So when you meet a guru like Eric Spoelstra, who even with a on the roster subpar Miami team, but with a Jimmy Buckets and a Bam Bam and the workaholics, like somebody know them, man, we knew before this playoffs, like Vincent and them, man, who the Bucks have made now into stars because they are both made the conference finals. And as you said, win one game. The moment Zeus was out, the lack of half court sets, the lack of defensive application was so evident in Milwaukee's basketball play. The lack of simply stemming the flow of a run. At one point in, I think it was game 3, Miami went on like a 22-1 run, and Iman refused to call a timeout. Here we tell you, Jrue Holiday literally looking to the bench, bouncing the ball in his left hand. I will not forget this play. AJ probably saw it. And coach, but ain't budging. Like, nah. Play on.
Play basketball, man.
You're like, you serious? You serious right now? So even though you have an all-world talent like Zeus, like, you have to have an at least decent coach to be able to box consistently in the playoffs. Because, yes, a champion is need some fortune on the run. And Milwaukee did very well to win that chip they won, which they won from two love down. A lot of people also tend to forget that Phoenix bottled it a little bit in our finals. So sorry. Which brings me to coach number 2, Monty. I think it's unfair that Monty lost his job. And this is why. Given all your points, which are very, very pertinent, which is very true. You actually reminded me of some. And I had to say, I don't know if I want to get along on this take no more, because it's so big now. But I think the culture like that you mentioned, also his application of basketball knowledge, regardless of the ability he had on his roster, was evident. He might have had Donkey J. Crowder looking good at one point. You know what I mean? He developed Mikal Bridges from a defensive player to a two-way player. That happened under Monty. He developed Campaign. You know what I mean? But yet, at the same time,
and Cam Johnson too.
And Cam Johnson. We got a guy called Biggs. Big up Biggs. He's one of the 3 Phoenix fans I know now. Like, he's great. But Biggs is calling him Cam and Cam. You know? So, but at the same time, you can't got all world talents like KD and Devin Booker and get bunks the way you get bunks. You getting blow out. You like, if you lose, you can't lose badly. And then that brings me to DeAndre Ayton. You ain't touch on it, but I will, because that's another man that I defend. Ken know this. Yeah. AJ know this too. There's another man I defend last season. Said no man, give him a chance.
You defend. Wait. Hold on. You defended DeAndre Ayton?
Yes.
Because Ken and AJ didn't warn you. If there is something that would get me on a rant outside of Aaron Rodgers, it is DeAndre Ayton. Like there are 2 Daves that will get me on a rant, and that is 1A. That is 1A. DeAndre Ayton.
This is why. I when you drafted DeAndre Ayton, I also like Devin Booker. I got punched off for 2 guards for 2-way 2 guards. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. You know what I mean? So Devin Booker for me is lovely. Always here to the fact people say, oh, he don't play in the defense. Nonsense. And I hope people can see that this season now. But anyway, so when you drafted DeAndre Ayton, I was like, okay, possible.
Mistake number 1, but continue, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, no. Anyway, but last season, when he had that spot with Monty and what's up, I loved Monty's response to it, first of all, by saying that's in-house. You know what I mean? Deal with it in-house, cool. I was hoping, it solve it, resign him, give him the faith, fine, bam. But even the points where CP was out, Devin Booker was out during the season. Monty giving you the reins. I see in this, watching this man set up tactical plays to run pick and rolls, where all DeAndre gonna do is set the screen, roll to the basket, and get 4 here. And like, on the rail. Easy money. DeAndre shying away. So it didn't surprise me in the playoffs when he went all week. His mentality is one of the poorest ever. If he had half of what Zeus had, a quarter of the mentality Zeus had, DeAndre Ayton would be a monster player. So you can move on from him now. Like, I am sorry, Phoenix. I apologize for defending this man. I'm telling y'all to give him money. Find a way to send him to Utah or somewhere. So that send him to Memphis to play with that shooter boy. You know, never want to help. Right? But I don't find that Monty deserved to go because of what he brought and the run he and what he's done. And last but not least, the doctor of the rivers. He is a donkey. I said it years ago. I said a mule, a bona fide, he has a works coach who has pinned his fortunes on the one chick he won in Massachusetts when he had 3 of the greatest players Boston ever seen. One time. He could not even get, once LeBron moved to Miami, he couldn't even get that Heat team beat. And he had a good squad, not just 3 big players. He had Big Baby, Kendrick Perkins, Rondo, all them man, Tony Batty, all them man. And he couldn't get past the Heat. The Heat is the more Heat. That's one. Let's go beyond that. He had T-Mac in Orlando. AJ can remember this. Remember this. MVP level T-Mac in Orlando. It was Reggie Miller Pacers.
No, he had a 3-1 lead on Detroit and blew that.
Or worse. A 3-1 on Detroit. And bottled that. He went to LA Clippers and had the Lob City boys doing all kind of things, telling the Lakers how one them is the best team in LA, all kind of things. And ain't make it out the first round. And Chris Paul then used to get hurt then, so he ain't got the Monty excuse. He had that then. He then goes to Philly. Yeah? And have Embiid and Simmons. And blame Ben Simmons. The donkey he is. Yeah? Pick up James Harden and talk about he have a double MVP. I remember you, Doc, in December Christmas. Christmas just gone, talking about you got a double MVP. Huh? And Tyrese Maxey, who you've given green light. And Tobias Harris, he's going to prove why he was the best choice. And look at you. We want you to put away the leprechauns. You up 3-2. You can silence all of us. And you get blow to France. Not Cancun, to France. You deserve nothing, Doc Rivers. You are top 15 NBA coaches, and people have the gall, the unmitigated gall to mention Doc Rivers. Trash, nonsense, foolishness. I ain't see a half-court set yet. I ain't see one yet. Dribble from Harden for a shot, hit the rim or score, and pick or high post pick and roll to Embiid. Let he do what he want. Doc Rivers, sorry. Or give Maxey the ball, let Maxey get an ISO, left or right, down through the middle, or step back 3. Tobias Harris on the low block post, or step out to the corner 3. And further to that, you had the shoe head boss, the man that got more shoes than everybody, and refused to apply a defensive scheme to stop Jaylen Brown, surrounding it by TJ. We name. Huh? Doc, you can go. I done it. You can go.
You meant PJ Tucker?
PJ Tucker.
The sneaker king himself.
The sneaker king himself. Huh? You can go, Doc. You can go. I mean, I'm glad that Harden ain't getting the rings. Nothing's for he. Call me back to D GreenBaje for that one.
All right, AJ, your turn.
Justin, I don't know if you know this, right? Obviously, Adam and Ken already know this, but Tracy McGrady is my favorite basketball player all time. Like,
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, Tracy McGrady. Like, obviously, Jordan to me is a GOAT, but my personal favorite, Tracy McGrady, right? There he goes. And Adam, you mentioned when you mentioned that situation with Doc, the 3-1 lead. But I don't want to start with Doc, but I wanted to start by mentioning this, right? And that's part of the reason. That's a lot of the reason when I start watching, like why I start watching basketball. When Tracy McGrady became a Knick, I couldn't take on her.
Yeah,
That,
boy.
that,
That was
was
hard.
some very dark days. But anyhow, I did get upset with McGrady during that because you remember he did an interview and he said it feels good to be in the second round when they were up 3-1. That was idiocy too. I was upset with him on that. But in any case, I've never liked Doc Rivers. I think Doc Rivers is an absolute farce. And as we all know, and Adam, you already said it, the man won a ring at a time when he had a big three, when there wasn't another big three in the league. He had three of the greatest players, as you said, the Celtics had ever seen, three of the best in the league of their generation, all together, still not necessarily in their prime, but not very well past it. Exactly. Not far out of it.
Yeah, because KG still won a Defensive Player of the Year that year.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
And they also had Rondo at the point.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the other name just slipped.
Kendrick Perkins was center, yeah.
Kendrick, yeah.
Yeah, so they had a quality five.
You realize that two of them men used to be in MVP conversations for like that whole decade, right? Then 3 men, right?
So he won the one ring with them, and then after that it has. I don't even feel the need to go back over anything else. I just wanted to say that Doc Rivers is a farce. He don't deserve to be working anywhere. Doc Rivers shouldn't even be coaching AAU basketball right now. Go home, now go home and play with the children. That's it. You're done. Just log out for us, Doc. Log out.
Bye.
So with Coach Bud, right? I must admit, because Bud was, I guess, getting I would say a bit more headlines during the Bucks time, to me, which is more as around a time when I was not watching as frequently. I wasn't as harsh on Bud as Ken was. Ken is the one who really pointed him out to me, right? And since then I started watching, I was like, geez, yeah, this man real terrible though. Like this man real bad. Like he's not actually doing anything. He's not actually doing anything. I don't feel as strongly as I do about Bud as I do Doc, but I think based on how the Bucks have, to me, it feels like seemingly regressed since winning the chip. I think Bud had to go. I was kind of on the fence when he got let go because I was a bit surprised, but at the same time I wasn't. If that kind of makes sense, but I was on the fence about it. But I don't think it's a bad decision. We move on swiftly to Monty, and I think Justin already kind of went in depth on this, so I'll just probably piggyback off a few points here. I think that in Monty's situation, he's obviously a better coach than the other two combined, without question, right? I think a lot of him being fired was circumstance. It's not necessarily his ability, but just circumstance. The other two are not good. Monty was just in a situation. Yeah, Monty was just in a somewhat untenable situation, and I think because obviously what y'all mentioned the least known, but I think what most importantly drove the nail into the coffin was, as Justin pointed out, there's a new owner. You know how new owners like to put their own stamp of approval on things and bring in their people. And so I think the Suns losing in that manner, which was like a culmination of their failures in the playoffs in the last few seasons, that just gave even more impetus to the new owner to be able to say, all right, well, yeah, your time is done. We thank you for your service, but we'll move on from here. I think Monty was a victim of circumstance. I was surprised that he was fired because I honestly thought he would have had at least a full season with the KD.
Yeah, man. At least straight to Billa. Yeah.
I thought he would have had a full season. So I was kind of surprised at that. But then, like, looking back at all the other factors, I felt like there was enough to make an excuse for a new owner to get rid of him. Monty, come down Detroit, too. Come on, Detroit. Like, come and develop. And again, Justin, this is another thing. Like, I don't necessarily have an NBA team, but my favorite if I had to pick one, it would actually be Detroit. Now, mind you, I don't think I ever seen the Detroit Pistons win another ring in my lifetime watching basketball because even if they were to somehow draft somebody, I don't see who they're bringing there to compete the team. That franchise, that city is just not it ain't it. But I would love because I was a fan of Kate Cunningham as well. So him going to Detroit sort of made me like try to look at them a little bit more. I would love Monty to come down here. Monty will get on the job. But what I am unsure about, Doc should not be working anywhere in basketball.
I have an idea where these three coaches.
You know he can get another job.
No, he's
you know somebody can pick up Doc. Somebody can pick up Doc. I don't know why, but
so before we get to these coaches and what might happen next, I'm not going to go in depth on Bud again this week because I went in depth on Bud last week, and I said just for everyone to remember, I have every year until Minnesota and Chris Finch made the playoffs. I said that Bud was the worst coach in the playoffs.
Oh, jeez.
So that every single year. Every year.
Fact.
And he proved it every year. Because you cannot tell me that you have Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and your play of choice whenever you get in trouble is give Giannis the ball and let him drive the key and either take the three, drive and score, or drive and kick. That's the extent of Bud's playbook. So when that happens and you go and you get your mouth rinsed out by the Miami Heat in 5 games when you were the 1 seed and they lost the first round of the play-in and had to win to get in as the number 8, you have to go. He, as somebody, I don't remember who mentioned, had he not won the chip back in 2021 it was, he would have been fired that year. He was on the hot seat, and then somehow miraculously he won the chip. All right, fine, no problem. You won the chip. You get to hang around a little bit longer. No, you put to bed, go home. Fine, fair. To Monty, no, I guess I'm taking in the same order as everybody else did. So to Monty, no, I had a little bit of sympathy for Monty. From the perspective that AJ mentioned that Monty, he is not the general manager. The general manager decided to pull the trigger and trade away pieces that he was using year before and all year long to get Kevin Durant. To be fair, it's Kevin Durant. So you can do what you have to do to bring in a talent of that caliber. But when you do what you do to bring in a talent of that caliber and then the rest of the team just looks like nuts and bolts, then you gotta get what you take. So unfortunately for them, they ran up against the number 1 seed with who I believe should have been MVP, Jokic, playing at an all-time level. So I had some sympathy for him. But you have to say that if you are the coach of a team that is favored to win it all, and 2 years in a row, you are down 30 points at halftime, in not even the same kind of circumstance, but 2 different kinds of circumstances. So 57-27 against the Mavericks, which means that your offense was in net. But now you come back now and put up 51 points, but down to 81 points. That means that your defense now has fallen apart. You have been spots with the likes of DeAndre Ayton, who everybody right now willing to put in a pancake and push it down the hill.
I don't know why it's right now, but
I mean, they've been ready to get rid of Ayton. I thought that they would have come down to Ayton or Monty, and Monty would have went out. But apparently, it's both of them that getting tossed out, along with Chris Paul, or I should say, the shadow of Chris Paul, because he and his gimpy hamstring and his wound too tight groin. I don't know what he up to down in Phoenix. That he boy pulling groin like that. But they picking up these injuries all the time. The team is not going to be able to sustain itself. And as hot as Devin Booker was, it was only a matter of time before he cooled off. Because when we saw what Denver did in the first round to Minnesota, I have been on record by saying that this is the most application I have seen the Denver Nuggets put to defense in my life. I have never seen them play defense like this. So it was a bad matchup. I do feel some level of sympathy for Monty. I guess I'm the only one in the panel really though that got any kind of sympathy for Doc.
Only one.
Because I will agree that Doc Rivers, yeah, follow me here, right? So Doc Rivers clearly has stayed past his shelf life. He managed to win the chip, as you guys mentioned, with the big tree and all that. I ain't gonna back through everything I want to say. The reason why I have some sympathy for Doc, right, is that you cannot, as a head coach, legislate for your two supposedly best players not turning up in any game when you needed them to actually show up to win the games for you. How is it? I would love for Doc to go and have an honest interview where he gets to say exactly how he feels. Because you can't tell me in Big 2023 when you miss an MVP, do not score 10 shots, right? And you are going to sit up there in a press conference and say that me and my best mate, James Harden, we can't win it on our own when your best mate plays 41 of 48 minutes in a blowout game. And he is the primary ball handler for your team. So nobody has to give him the ball. He has the ball all the time. And he takes 11 shots. 11 shots in a whole game. And you're going to tell me that you can sit, you got the goal to unpick your teeth and say that we can't win a game by ourselves, brother. If y'all was not on the floor, chances are you don't get beat that bad. Because y'all did nothing. Nothing at all. So I made mention of who I thought should have been the MVP. Because yes, it's a regular season award, right? But only one player has been so consistent throughout the entire playoffs so far and has been guiding and directing and carrying his team all the way to where they are now in the finals, and that is Nikola Jokic. Because when we see Joel Embiid get when the lights are brightest, he has been hanging around James Harden too long. Because when the lights get bright, and the oven get hot, these two men disappear. Disappear.
Evaporate,
And
man.
and that is why I have some sympathy for Doc. Because I don't remember the name of the comedian. I put it in the chats though. Y'all saw the video where the man was like, these men just not hooping. How am I supposed to win games if y'all not hooping? What am I supposed to do when
RDC
the
World.
there you go. When the two men that I have been depending on all season long just decide, you know what, coach? We take it tonight off. In a game seven, though, so what I supposed to do? Because you know, if Dot decided, well, these men not play anything at all, I can just bench them. We would have been here saying, but Doc is a madman. How you can decide that you can get a game seven and don't play and be in it? Well, I didn't say you can't play Harden because we know what Harden is doing game sevens. Nothing. Harden is give you less than Ken Griffith effort, and Ken Griffith to be at home watching it on TV. So that would tell you, no, I do feel a little sympathy. I feel a little sympathy for Doc.
I get you, and that is a very fair and credible argument. But what I will say, this is a very succinct reply. What I will say to you is, no one wants to be the one in 1 and 51. Cool. That's it. That's it.
Fair point. So, fellas, I mean, we talk a lot about these things so far, but it would be unfair, it would be remiss of me for us to end this week's episode without touching on this last question: to be or not to be unemployed? Because it's saying like if we got some musical chairs happening here, we hearing that a lot of names and a lot of places are getting, matched up. We're hearing that Monty is getting attention from Milwaukee. We're hearing that Bud is getting some attention. Sorry, Justin, I started to laugh, but he gets some attention from the Phoenix. So
Don't do it. Please don't
Justin
do
is not pleased. Justin ain't even cracking a smile.
it.
Cut it out.
so to in the past it used to be a man would get fired and he'll go home and he'll relax himself for like a year or two and then he will get himself another job. That doesn't seem to be the case here. So Justin, to be or not to be unemployed, what we doing with these coaches and these openings?
Um, I suspect what's going to happen is that Bud is going to end up in Philadelphia, simply because like he was an assistant there, and I just think that from the way how as y'all mentioned before how he develops players and whatever not, and he brings a lot of cachet with him. The only other person I could possibly see taking him out, and I hate to mention the fact of this, right, is Mike D'Antoni, simply because, as you know, the James Harden love and also the general manager is Daryl Morey. So, like, I feel like Daryl Morey is trying to put the band back together, but that you don't want Mike D'Antoni anywhere around a semblance of a good big man. So, I think it's going to be Monty Williams, especially because he's had time in Philadelphia as an assistant coach there before. He knows, he knows the area, he knows the organization, and players seem to love Monty Williams, especially with this tough love. So I'd say Monty there, and if not there, then he's in Milwaukee. With Phoenix, I'm trying to balance as what I want as to what will happen. But I think both are going to end up happening, which is Nick Nurse. I think because like when you hear Ishbia talk, Ishbia is about winning right now. So to your earlier point about Monty not being a general manager, James Jones was not a general manager in either instance either. Apparently, the word on the street is that Ishbia was the one who navigated the entire Durant trade, and then Ishbia was the one who pulled the trigger on Monty Williams as well. So it's clear, A, that Ishbia is about winning, and B, if that is the case, Ishbia is not about bringing an unproven assistant coach to do that. He's looking for a big name. And really, the only names out there who have won titles before moving, not named Doc Rivers, you're looking at Coach Budenholzer, which, again, is not going to fit that Phoenix culture. So then is likely Nick Nurse. I want Nick Nurse, and I think that that's the direction he's going to go. So then that leaves Milwaukee, and I am not sure where Milwaukee is going to turn. I think they too are going to want a name who's won before. They'd have to be crazy to be looking at Doc Rivers. I honestly think that Philadelphia should be Doc Rivers' last head coaching job. I think Doc should just move into advisory role. I believe he knows a lot of basketball. He's just not good when it comes down to crunch. Like when it comes to winning time, like when you're up on the lane, when you have elimination games, I just don't think Doc is that guy. Milwaukee's a curious case. I also I have them as front runners for Bud as well. As for Monty. But obviously Monty can't coach in two different places at the same time. So if not Monty Williams, then I'm going to say that they have I can't remember his name, but they have a widely regarded assistant on their bench. And if not there, then I think somebody like a Chris Quinn. Because I know a lot of people are trying to pin other people in Milwaukee, but having lived in Wisconsin for 2 years now, right, I now understand what it means in terms of a city, state's culture and ethos is born upon a team. So there's a particular level of player, a particular level of coach that you're going to bring in. So take, for instance, I'll give you an example of what I mean. Ime Udoka would never have been pursued by Milwaukee, simply because obviously of the stain that followed him from, how he left Boston. Milwaukee, Wisconsin in general is not going to accept that type of. It's a conservative Midwest place, so they would not have gone after Ime Udoka. So I'm guessing somebody like a Chris Quinn that comes directly out of that heat camp, if they don't get Monty Williams.
What about you, Adam? What do you think happens here with these jobs and these coaches?
Man, Justin's really made you think, boy. Kudos. Um, Nick Nurse, for me, coaching ability is okay. I still think he was a fortunate coach in winning the chip in Toronto. So that gives him a lot more pedigree than I believe he merits. Call me harsh, but yeah. But I would like to see a Nick Nurse in Phoenix. A Nick Nurse in Phoenix, I wouldn't mind. To see then what he would do with a team then that needs key pieces and stuff like that, and how the owner would influence that. And yes, you got some other front office issues in Phoenix, so how that plays out will be an interesting watch. Um, Coach Bud, I know if Coach Bud getting a good job, boy, but somehow these men is find jobs, or jobs is find them. My preference, I would love Coach Bud to go to Philadelphia and all of them days together. Let's just dance slow death over all that trash down there. Slow death. Me personally, I don't know. I don't have the insider knowledge to know how well or how much Philadelphia would be interested in a Coach Benelza, but that's where I would place him preference wise. Monty, I would love Monty in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee too. Milwaukee
I
would love that too.
What I would love Monty Williams in Milwaukee coaching Soups, because I don't know how many Phoenix games, not you, Justin, my other two learned colleagues here, how many Phoenix games you actually saw where he gave Aiton the green light, and there were quite a few this season.
All right, come, no, you start me, no, come, like you want the Aiton thing, right?
For sure.
So DeAndre Aiton, no.
This is why Justin vex, because
listen to me, right?
He set plays for so much so that's what developed Mikal Bridges into such a great scorer, because he was the offset, he was the X factor. You know what I mean? He was. Monty's system is one reason why I like Monty's system too. It is not the triangle, but it's a box and one on defense and a high 3 and 2 on offense, which is provide lovely for a 2 guard, Devin Booker, or a 3 forward, Mikal Bridges. But then if you got a big man that could
Listen, hold on, Adam. Man. Look, you start me now, right? Do not ever use the term big man and DeAndre Ayton again. Look, y'all been poking me the entire night. So I'm gonna talk like DeAndre Ayton situation here now, right? I want the viewers that watching here know, right, that sit down and think that, because I know a lot of people say, oh man, the organization fear DeAndre Ayton, Monty ain't like DeAndre Ayton. There's a reason Monty did not like DeAndre Ayton. And I'm going to list them for y'all very quickly. The very first thing is, right, DeAndre Ayton, if DeAndre Ayton was a big man that was not mobile, right, and did not have good hands, then all bets are off and all, like, no problem. But DeAndre Ayton is a physical specimen, but he does not play like such. So let's go through the problems, right? Let's go through the problems, right? Like Adams mentioned, there's a ton of space created but for DeAndre Ayton by the players that he just mentioned. The issue is, if you ever catch him on pick and rolls, he does not go any further than that free throw line. Does not dive any further there. He does not play with any physicality. So he's never going to free throw line because he does not use any physicality. Even if you switch a guard onto DeAndre Ayton, the move you will always see, he turns over his left shoulder to shoot some sort of short hook shot or fadeaway jumper. That is DeAndre Ayton. So he does not get to the foul line because he does not play any physicality, whether a forward or a guard is marking him. He does not attack the offensive glass. So you can rest assured, know that you can run up the court because DeAndre Ayton is not attacking the offensive glass. He is not a rim protector in the slightest means of the word rim protector. DeAndre Ayton is not that. If you look in the basketball thesaurus of rim protector, DeAndre Ayton will not be on page 1, 2, 3, or 84. He will not be there. He does not protect the rim. He does not know positional defense. So somebody, Nikola Jokic, will terrorize him day in, day out. Tomorrow, 2025, 2055, when Nikola Jokic is old and has grandchildren, he will still terrorize DeAndre Ayton. This man does not do what big men are supposed to do. And if DeAndre Ayton had the slightest sense of basketball IQ and mental toughness, he would realize all he had to do to get points was attack the offensive glass and run the floor hard. It is not hard. It's hard. Come on, Adam, man.
Well, that easy. Well, that easy. Like I think a little harsh on the rim protection, but all your points are pertinent. And what my biggest problem against him is his mentality, his lack of aggression. Because the moment you get, I've seen AD torment. Okay, fair enough. We call it MVP caliber players, but these is big men. Who you supposed to be matching up against? Who have the ability? Who you have the ability to also go at? AD, Jokic, Embiid, Zeus. I've seen Gobert, but DeAndre Ayton.
I want you to know in that 2021 finals, right? Milwaukee, and if you watch over that 6-game series, Milwaukee absolutely ignored DeAndre Ayton.
Yes.
Ignored him. The man said, okay, who is not, the man said, if he beat me, so be it. But who will not beat us is Devin Booker and Chris Paul. The man said, no, saying, we are going to take away and contest every mid-range jumpers. We do not care for wherever you rule. The man completely ignored him.
Facts. Now watch this. Just to finish off on my point with the coaches, if Monty gets to Milwaukee with a Giroux, a Chris Middleton, and that Greek god called Zeus, I would pay money to see that, because Monty then will show you how deadly a half decent big man, far less an MVP big man, could be in Zeus. And I think he would also take the pressure, a lot of the pressure that Zeus has on him, because Zeus's ball play literally has been get the ball. But would give, as Ken said, give Zeus the ball. Everywhere else, just wait for the outlet pass, or he going to the bucket head down. I think a system that Monty would employ there would also get it can only make him better. It can only make him better because it can give him some time off the ball as well.
All right, AJ, you got anything to add?
Notice anything about Doc. Notice I said nothing about Doc.
I ain't got that sort of time anymore. You got that sort of time. we got these big men. We got things to do. I ain't talking about Rivers. Anyhow, just because I hadn't laid it out as much as these guys did, so I'll kind of just piggyback off of their points. I actually like the idea of Monty in Milwaukee. I think Monty's too good to not have like another championship caliber job at this point. Granted, I know I said just a while ago, like, come to Detroit, but he's way too good to be coaching in the Boondocks at this point. And to that point, Detroit even too good for Doc. But anyhow, I just had to get that in there. But I think the Monty to Milwaukee seems to make sense to me. And again, both of y'all already said this, but the Bud to Sixers and y'all outlined for a plethora of reasons why it could happen, and left this one out. The Sixers are desperate. They are a desperate organization. Sometimes they don't necessarily operate with the best business sense. They do things out of desperation because they think that this is the only move. I can see them actually going after Bud because they think he is available. He has already won a chip. They did this with the incumbent. But he ain't had no right being there in the first case, no.
Remember I told y'all here first, right?
Yeah.
If Philadelphia loses out on the Monty sweepstakes, right, Mike D'Antoni is going to be their coach. Remember I told you this.
Okay, cool. I mean, all I'm saying is all I'm saying is they're going to do something desperate. It could be D'Antoni, it could be, but either one is a desperation move to me. But I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at those two.
All right, well, I don't really have a lot to add because I've laughed so much tonight. I've wiped tears out my eyes in every segment, every single one tonight. So I've just been having a ball. I would love for what's his name, Bud, to go down in Philly as well. But I don't have any good reason for that. I just don't like Bud and I don't like Philadelphia. I hated the process as a concept. So if you put the two of them together, I am happy because then all I need to do then is to bring in Dylan Brooks and John Moran. I am happy and they good. All the people that don't like on one team. So then I'd be good as rain. Um, with regards with regards to Milwaukee, I can't forget my thoughts together. Though. Yeah. Oh, right. The other thing I was coming to say where Philly was concerned is that Justin. The only reason I don't think I'm not 100% confident that D'Antoni gets there if Monty doesn't go there is because right now we already hearing the rumors that James Harden don't plan to be there next season. And
He wasn't planning to be there if Doc was going to be there next season.
but this is what I was coming to say. If I was the ownership group of Philadelphia, I would not give him that opportunity. I know that he said that if they kept Doc, that he was looking to leave. I was getting rid of both of them because he serves absolutely no purpose to my organization,
Yeah.
and Doc clearly was not good enough to get the job done. So
I'm
I
with
would
you,
get rid
Ken.
of him too.
But the only issue is, again, the man that co-toast to James Harden at every opportunity is in the front office in Daryl Morey. And I think everybody has learned from Dallas's mistake. You can't let a player walk for nothing. And I mean, in the mistake they let with Jalen Brunson walking out the door without at least not attempting to trade him. Like, you can't let anybody leave for nothing. And James Harden, as bad as we know he was in closeout games, you can't let the man walk out the door for absolutely nothing. Like,
But you know
so
the rumblings that there's some rumblings going on that Maury Day's number two. You know.
no, that would have to happen, and I think that should happen. But
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, because the one thing that I consider to be a massive dereliction of duty is that you're going to give James Harden all of this power in your organization. But James Harden says that he's thinking about going back to Houston. I made this comment in one of our chats today that he might want to go back down by Email Udoka because he and Email Udoka might be kicking it the same kind of way. It could be that because Email has already accepted the job in Houston, whereas if he was still unemployed, except for Milwaukee, as you so eloquently stated, Justin, he would be on the top of most of these teams' list right now. Emil probably is going to have a jersey lifted in the rafters in Houston. Maybe not in the arena, but in another arena of sorts.
look,
So
the,
we will
the
see.
strip clubs in Houston will have to be freaking boy. Call it
Yeah,
two
James
of them
got
on
one
the
for
strip.
sure. James got James jersey up for sure.
Correct, up there already. So it's just waiting for Udoka to come and join it. So I mean, this is the state of the NBA that we're in. I'm not even going any further tonight because we have been here for a while. I have had a ball. Listen, I have laughed my belly full. Tonight, I have my eyes don't have any dust anymore because all of my tears have washed them away. We have had a blast. And for those of you who have caught this show, we are happy that you could have joined us for any of it. I mean, this is the most fun I've had probably in any episode. And we need to do this again. We need to do
For
this
sure. For sure.
again. So, Justin, before we get out of here, tell the folks where they can find you.
So before you do that, please subscribe to these two guys. I subscribe here to Adam and also to GreenBaje podcast. Like, awesome time. Always good to be on my Caribbean brothers. And then when you're done with that, come over to hashtag this just in. Please put in the hashtag. You do not want Max Kellerman and those cool tits. You want the original this just in. We are on every Monday night on YouTube, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. For our short form content, again, hashtag this just in. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, and we are on Twitter.
All right, Adam, tell the folks where they can find you as well.
Well, I am a babe in this game. I'm a newborn in this game, but you know what I mean. Up and coming, Ballers for 005 on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram as well, my personal Instagram. But don't worry about that. You should have some content from me soon. Please make sure and subscribe to these two boys, Green Badge, to the world. Justin, it's been lovely doing this. We have to do this again. Make sure you subscribe to me guys as well.
Yeah, so again, as I said, thank you very much. We always invite you to like this video, hit the notification bell, subscribe to the channel so that every time that we are on, you can be here with us. So, as always, that is AJ. He is the green. I am Ken. I am the beige, and we will see you next time.